But I have to avoid to get too deep into the internal politics of the U.S. But I wish that there might be a change. I mean, because what was shown in the documentary is what we really want. We just want the imperial powers to leave us alone and respect us and let us be and try to build our own path toward development and those things. That's what we are asking for. We are not planning to invade countries or whatever lies you might hear on the TV or the media. We're just trying to present like an alternative to the socio-economic model that exists and that we believe generates a lot of inequality that sometimes generates big problems like the problems we inherited and allow Chavez to become the president of Venezuela. Yes?
Could you explain the decentralization or the community power? Because I was reading that recently Chavez was even thinking of smaller units. So
yes, I believe that that's the most.
Yeah, so can you explain that so we get a sense of how you got that and how these smaller community groups work?
It's complicated, but I'm going to try to make it as simple as possible. But basically, and maybe my deputy consul that is over there, Kenny Garcia, he can interrupt me whenever he wants to try to complement what I say. But basically, I believe that the communal power, that's how we call it in Venezuela, is like the key of the crown of the whole progressive change that we are trying to implement in Venezuela. And the unit basis of that power, communal power, I call it, is like the communal branch of the state. I see it that way, like an additional branch. The most small unit of that branch are the communal councils. And the communal councils, because of the constitution we approved, Venezuelans approved in '99, give the people the opportunity to decide how to solve their own problems. If they organize in their communities to solve those problems. And they just have to organize themselves by assemblies and to identify problems and try to propose solutions to those problems. And then, at that point, they can get financing sources from local governments, from state governments, or from federal governments. And that way, they can somehow bypass the bureaucracy of the state. And you know, deciding by themselves how to solve their own problems and what are their own problems. So I believe that that's the most beautiful part of what is happening in Venezuela. And in recent months, we approved La Ley del Consejo Federal de Gobierno in Spanish, the law of the Federal Council of Governance, maybe. And that law, from my perspective, creates that communal branch. And that law is beautiful from my perspective because allow those communal councils to receive funding. Right now, they don't have neither to have the discretion of a local government or a governor or the federal government. They can receive the funding directly from an instance that was created that is the Federal Consejo Federal de Gobierno, the Federal Council of Governance. So they can right now organize communities in communal councils. They can solve their own problems and propose projects to solve those problems, engage and have the funding not even from any elected official, but from the Consejo Federal de Gobierno, the Federal Council of Governments. So that gives them more power and separate them from the discretion of local authorities, and that's part of a big concept, which is a participatory democracy concept, which is part of the new constitution that we approved in '99. So it's like, but this is like a big discussion. We can talk about that like for hours, and that's the part that I like the most about the changes that we have been trying to implement, because those changes right now are trying to go deeper also into the economic scope, because right now we have been working trying to give those communal councils also the ownership of some productive units, as Chavez was somehow trying to refer in the documentary. In some parts of the documentary, Chavez mentioned that. So we have been working on that, and that's, from my perspective, the best example of democracy, when you give organized communities or organized workers the power to run a production unit, a company, an enterprise, or whatever, and they are going to be the first beneficiaries of the productivity of that enterprise. And they are going to use the revenues of that company to solve also their own problems in the community. So that's part of the changes that we have been trying to implement in recent months, and those are the most beautiful ones. Yes.
When you talk about a country like Mexico, how do you see Mexico and the Mexican people compared with your country, Venezuela, and what Hugo Chavez has been doing there? They never mentioned on the film anything about the country of Mexico. And one of my concerns is that I would feel like we need to welcome the Mexican people into our country so that if there's injustice being perpetrated in Mexico, then let them be free so that we can possibly assist them, or at least help organize them here in our country so that they have a way to have a life for themselves. Any comment that you would like to make, either regarding the relationship between Hugo Chavez and the President of Mexico, I'm sorry I don't know who it is presently, and then they also showed on the movie the people coming from the South into the United States. What do we see from that in the future? What can we expect?
Tarek Ali, that was the one that was talking about that, and he said that that's the representation of his wildest dreams. We cannot talk too much about that because we are going to too much about how to promote changes in other countries. But of course, we can, talking about the relations between Mexico and Venezuela, we can say that there's a big relation, historically, a deep relation between the peoples of, I believe that from Mexico to Argentina, the Latin American people, I feel it like we're like the same, from Mexico to Argentina, and a lot of Latinos feel that way. Of course, there are a lot of Latinos also that believe in their small countries and try to be like jealous of the other countries, and those things happen, and I believe that those are the behaviors that reproduce the control that the imperial powers always try to impose over us. So that's the way we help them control us. So I try not to reproduce that, and I believe that if we see ourselves like a lonely nation from Mexico to Argentina, we are going to become a real powerful nation, as we should be, as Bolivar's dream about. So within that context, I can tell you that right now between the Chavez government and the Mexican government, the president of Mexico is Calderon. The relations are quite better than we were expected. And why I'm telling you that because during the presidential campaign in Mexico, they used the figure of Chavez to satanize the other candidate that was running for presidency, which was López Obrador. So they used the figure of Chavez to try to demonize López Obrador. Even though they did that a lot, López Obrador was very close to become the president of Mexico, but he moved. And in that context, we believe that the relations with the Calderon government was going to be terrible. But if you ask me, that haven't happened, and the relations are very cordial, at least with the Mexicans. Of course, they are not represented in the in the documentary